at 6:01 p.m. It is my pleasure to introduce the students of Sunset Ridge and Ocean Shore Schools, fourth graders Dominic, Bryson, Nora, and Sophia Ann, and fifth graders Donovan and fourth grader Ayana, and fifth grader Georgina and Eleanor, who will lead us in the flag salute, read the land acknowledgement, and provide highlights of their school.
Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may now be seated.
Now time to read the land of acknowledgement. The Pacifica School District acknowledge that we gather the unceded ancestral homeland of Ramaytush Ohlone people. As guests, we humbly extend our gratitude to the Ramaytush Ohlone elders and community. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. And we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples.
As the original stewards of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone people understand the interconnectedness of all things and importance maintaining harmony with nature.
Likewise, Pacifica School District commits to teaching our school community how to be responsible stewards of this land.
We are all student council for Sunset Ridge and Ocean Shore, and now we will all share our goals for the school year. My name is Georgina, and I want to make sure everyone has a positive experience and that their voices are heard. My name is Ellie, and my goal is to make sure everyone knows that they are in a safe and loving environment.
My name is Bryson, and my goal is to help students with their work.
My name's Alea, and my goal is to keep the school clean. My name is Nora, and my goal is to have a school spirit and make sure no one feels left out. My name is Sophia, and my goal is to help students and make the world a better place.
My name is Dominic, and my goal is to make school a safer place for everyone.
Hi, my name is Donovan, and my goal is to make everyone feel included.
Thank you very much. No problem. Thank you. All right. Barbara, would you mind taking the roll?
Trustee Berdal? Here. Trustee Burkini?
Here.
Trustee Doggett? Here. Trustee Hart? Here. Trustee Villalobos?
Here. The district records the audio portions of the meetings. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that time for the inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. All public comment must be made in person unless a board member will attend remotely or as otherwise specified on a board agenda. Speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and the item number and submit it to the board president or the superintendent. You'll be called to address the board and may speak for up to 3 minutes. Please note, the public is welcome to provide comment to the board. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes unless extended or limited by vote of the board. A maximum of 20 minutes unless extended by the board is allocated for each subject discussion. The Brown Act open meeting regulations under which the board must operate do not allow board members to comment on non-agenda items or information you may bring up that are not on the agenda. Additionally, no action may be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following a comment. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
The motion?
All right, do I have a second? All right. The board met in closed session. On item 4B, there was a vote of 5-0 to approve the two cases. On all other items in closed, there was no action taken. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. If any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so request, any item shall be removed from this section and placed in the regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda?
I just noticed, I noticed a typo, on one of the board contracts. The last item, just, FYI, I don't think we need to move it, but I just wanted to point that out.
Which item?
The last item, in the description, it says installing parking lot bolliard to protect outdoor unit and, but the contract is for Lozano Smith legal fees.
Okay, so we could approve the contract with the, making those changes. Or the consent agenda. So do we have a approval? So we'll need a motion to approve. Okay. I have a second. Okay. All right. All right, communications. First communications are, oh, sorry, I might have jumped a page. Oh. Board special recognition. I don't have, I don't really have a page.
Oh.
All right, we have a board special recognition. Superintendent and Ellie and Karen Stevenson.
All right, we would, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call up Crystal and Robin if she's here. I know she might be running a little late. Alexis and Dan, come on up. Good evening, everyone. When Crystal, Alexis, Robin, and Dan first stepped into their roles as co-presidents of the PTOs, they didn't just see two separate schools or two different PTO boards. They saw an opportunity to build a community of children who all deserve the very best that we can give.
Co-location isn't just about sharing a building or a playground. It's about sharing a vision. It's the belief that when we pool our resources, our energy, and our hearts, we create a great learning environment for every child on campus.
Leading this effort hasn't always been about the big events. It's been found in the small moments, ensuring combined events are inclusive, listening to people's concerns and ideas, and it is breaking down the us versus them mentality.
We want to thank them for leading the way. Because of this partnership, our kids aren't just seeing schoolmates. They are seeing a diverse, vibrant neighborhood of peers working together.
Together, they've proven that while we may have different names on our spiritware, we are all on the same team. Thank you for making this year a success. Alexis Stanfield, you guys want to come and bring the flowers? Daniel Nong.
Thank you, but
Thank you. Crystal Chow. And Robin Mark Fox. She's not here yet. All right, and I'm just going to give you all a hug. Thank you. Very much. Appreciate you. All right, picture, Ellie. Let all of you come on.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you.
Just turn to picture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, communications. LSCA.
Good evening. Thank you to Trustee Bradall and Trustee Hart for joining LSEA member Morgan Mooney and me at the CTA Legislative Brunch. It was a nice morning listening to local leaders and the challenges we face in our country, state, and county. One challenge at the state level is the expiration of Props 30 and 55, which have generated an average $9 billion annually for California public schools. LSEA site reps and executive board are currently working on getting signatures from our members for the Prop 55 extension, which we hope to get on the November ballot. This extension applies to California's wealthiest residents, those filing jointly with more than $700,000 in personal income. If this does not get on the ballot and pass, our school district is set to lose $4,094,000. CTA is working for 1 million signatures in the state, so we will likely be asking you for a signature soon. On the agenda tonight is our projected enrollment and staffing. We're eager to work and see where we are in the coming year. We are also interested to see how workforce housing moves along and gets going after tonight and working with NorCal Carpenters Union Local 217. I came earlier this evening to speak at closed session about negotiations and some frustrations we have had. LSEA is hopeful the district team is prepared and given the appropriate authority and trust from the superintendent and board to get to work next week. Last year, when the co-location and restructuring plan was voted on by the board, there were 3 outcomes. A very important outcome for LSEA is the goal of improved compensation for staff through the parcel tax. Now that those monies are being allotted to our district, we look forward to a positive climate at the negotiations table where we look to improve our compensation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, CSCA. Who's the lucky one this evening? Okay,
We always do it together.
okay.
I'm not quite myself tonight, but let's see if I can get through this.
You got it.
Ugh. All right. Good evening, esteemed colleagues. I hate following Megan, by the way. As of today, we are 204 days without a contract. During that time, we have made no meaningful progress on compensation. We are scheduled to meet again tomorrow. And while we hope for better news, hope alone does not pay bills. Our members have already waited months, and asking them to wait until next month or longer is simply not acceptable. Before I continue, I read this to some of my coworkers, and they're like, you say the same thing every month and nobody listens. I hope you're listening. Our chapter, alongside LSCA and LSMA, has consistently supported the district by backing every parcel tax and bond measure. Classified employees have taken furlough days and repeatedly accepted assurances that improvements to future compensation would follow. Nearly a year ago, the board identified clear goals for its decisions: enhancing student programs, improving future compensation, and eliminating structural deficit spending. Classified employees have done their part to help the district meet these goals. It is now time for the district to honor the commitments and take meaningful action to address the compensation of its classified employees. We are due a raise. The cost of living continues to increase, and our district is no longer competitive with neighboring districts. Classified employees are leaving for higher paying positions elsewhere, not because they want to, but because they have to. Our members deserve an on-schedule raise that reflects their experience, their service, and the reality of living in this region. And also, please don't mess with our health benefits. Healthcare is not a luxury. For many classified employees and their families, it is the difference between stability and crisis. Maintaining our current health benefits is non-negotiable. Morale among classified employees is low. They talk to us constantly. Understandably so. When a contract expires and employees are told to continue working under its terms indefinitely, it sends a message that their labor is expected, but their needs are optional. Yes, we continue to work under the existing contract. Yes, we continue to show up for students every day, but goodwill is not endless. What makes this even harder to accept is what we see happening elsewhere. Top-level salaries continue to increase, new positions are added, and yet we are repeatedly told there is no money for classified employees who keep schools running. That contradiction matters. We are asking for fairness, we are asking for transparency, and we are asking for a contract that respects the people doing the work. Your turn.
Before we close, we want to take a moment to recognize a group that truly goes above and beyond every single day, our child nutrition workers. These are the dedicated employees who make sure our students are fed, nourished, and ready to learn each school day. So much of their day is behind the scenes that their hard work and dedication is often overlooked. We recognize the importance and value. Well, that was a period. CSCA Chapter 128 is proud to recognize all of our above and beyond recipients. Our classified employees are dedicated, hardworking professionals who care deeply about our students, our schools, and our district, and our community. Their commitment goes above and beyond every single day, and it deserves to be acknowledged. CSCA will continue to shine a spotlight on Pacifica School District's incredible classified employees because their hard work, dedication, and contributions should always be celebrated and rewarded. Union proud, union strong. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll move into people wishing to address the board. I'm just going to start at the top of my stack here. Let's go with Nicole Ortega.
Good evening, trustees, superintendent, and cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm here to talk about something that should concern everyone in this room, the well-being of essential employees who help to keep our district running every single day. As of today, we are 204 days without a contract. After more than 6 months of negotiations, there is still no agreement on compensation. And at least one essential district employee continues to work under a memorandum of understanding that will expire at the end of this school year, creating uncertainty about whether their position and their livelihood will even continue. These are not abstract issues. These are real people. Our classified employees remain to date the lowest paid classified school employees in San Mateo County. Even for those classified employees who are fortunate enough to work full-time in this district, we still struggle to afford rent, groceries, gas, and childcare. While the cost of living continues to rise, wages have not kept pace in this district. For some employees, that gap means choosing between paying for food or paying for housing. It means families facing food insecurity and being served by the resource center, facing housing instability with possible eviction, and constant financial stress while they manage their daily workload. These are the very employees who support our students every day, before school, during the school day, after the bell rings, in summer when schools are closed. They keep campuses clean, they keep them safe, functioning, and welcoming for the public and for all employees and students. Our schools and our districts do not operate without these people. Yet, after 204 days, these same people are still being asked to wait. Waiting does not pay rent. Waiting does not put food on the table. Waiting does not provide stability for families. Many of our classified employees are also parents to students in this district. What this message sends, whether it's intentional or not, is that their work is essential, but their livelihoods are negotiable. We are asking the board to act with urgency and fairness. We are asking you to prioritize a living wage, to leave our health benefits intact, to reach a fair contract, to ensure that no essential district employee is left in limbo as the school year continues. When we say we value our employees, it must be reflected not just in your words, but in your actions. Respect is shown through timely agreements, fair compensation, and stability. We do ask you to act now. We deserve a fair and equitable contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, next we have Sarah Kusenza.
Good evening. I'm a mom to a second grader at OSS at the SRE campus. I'm also an alum of Ocean Shore back when it was the alternative school. My love and knowledge of the Ocean Shore program runs really deep. I'm not here tonight to point any fingers of blame. What's done is done, and my interest now is moving forward and working together with the board and the district. As Superintendent Carissa, you said you were willing and open to doing, which I very much appreciate. Some things are going well with this merge and some things are not. Painting the picture that it's all going great is not helpful for progress and trust for those of us who feel differently. As a born and raised Pacifican from a multi-generational Ocean Shore family, I've been highly considering leaving the Pacifica School District altogether, which is absolutely devastating to someone like me, born here, raised here, and educated here. It's not working there for us for many reasons. There are absolutely too many kids on the campus, and there's just not enough space for my son to learn in a way that suits him best. He comes home many days with his lunch untouched because, in his words, he doesn't have enough time to eat. My son learns best with more hands-on learning, more individual support, and more interaction with adults. Sunset Ridge is a wonderful school, but it's not the right fit for many of us. Ocean Shore barely exists up there, and the pieces that do exist are from the hardworking parents and staff who are working so hard to keep some semblance of our program alive. It should not be this hard. Here's one of my favorite quotes from Mr. Rogers. "We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say it's not my child, not my community, not my world, not my problem. Then there are those who see the need and respond, and I consider those people my heroes." These two schools merged together is not working. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. If children and families aren't in an environment that best suits them, then a whole community suffers. Please see this need for change and please respond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Margaret Toomey.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to raise a concern about the lack of consistent district-wide English language support, development support for our multilingual learners. English learners are not a small or temporary population in Pacifica. They are students who are expected to meet the same academic standards as their peers, often while simultaneously learning the language of instruction. That requires intentional, systematic support, not informal accommodations or good intentions. At this time, ELD services across the district appear to be inconsistent, under-resourced, and in some cases unclear to teachers, to families, and to students themselves. In practice, this often means limited or no designated ELD instruction, inconsistent progress monitoring, classroom teachers being asked to shoulder specialized language instruction without sufficient training, time, or support. This is not a criticism of teachers. Teachers are doing their best. This is a systems issue. Under California law and guidance, English learners are entitled to both integrated and designated ELD, aligned to their proficiency levels. When those systems are weak or uneven, students fall behind, not because of ability, but because of access. The long-term impact is serious. Students struggle academically across all content areas. Families lose trust in the system. Achievement gaps widen instead of close. What I'm asking for tonight is not a quick fix, but a clear commitment from the district to evaluate current ELD services district-wide, clarify what ELD support looks like at every school and grade level, ensure staffing, training, and scheduling actually match student needs, communicate transparently with families about how their children are being supported. English learners bring resilience, multilingualism, and cultural wealth to our schools. They deserve a system that recognizes that and supports them accordingly. Currently, right now, my colleague and I are running an RTI support in our classrooms for several newcomer EL learners at our school to help them to access the curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Gwendolyn Holden.
I am the aforementioned colleague. So I am a sixth grade teacher at IBL, and I want to follow up with the letter I sent to the board January 13th, regarding the lack of English language development support for newcomer students in the Pacifica School District, and how I believe the district is not in compliance with ELD requirements of the state of California. Dr. Bowman responded to me by noting that designated ELD does not require a standalone class, and that because all teachers hold a CLAD certification, the district is considered in compliance. While I understand this definition, I strongly disagree that the classroom teacher alone can provide intensive, targeted language instruction for newcomer students that they require. One of my current students entered this district as a fourth grader on May 23rd, 2024. So she completed the 2024-2025 academic year as a fifth grader in Pacifica. And at the start of sixth grade, she was unable or unwilling to ask to use the bathroom in English. Dr. Bowman reminded me that our adopted curriculum, the Amplify curriculum, does have supportive ELD sentence frames such as, I think blank because blank. But these sentence frames do not address the foundational language acquisition needed for basic classroom functioning. Last week, IBL, like Margaret mentioned, we began addressing this gap through a response to intervention program funded with the supplemental funds, thanks to the leadership of Kathy Alderson and Salitha Okanaga. While this is a positive step, it doesn't solve the district-wide absence of a program to support newcomer students. We've done some research, and there may be a promising program that can be purchased by the district to help bridge the gap with what a newcomer needs and what a general education classroom instructor can provide. Feel free to reach out to me, and I will give you the details of what I know. So our newcomer students may be few, and they're not super vocal, but they are our responsibility. The district needs a K-8 ELD program that provides appropriate targeted instruction to meet their needs. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Leo Cosenza. Sorry, I would have called you earlier, but I got
That's okay.
confused.
No problem. I'm being called. I'm good. Okay. Let me see. I'm one of the original, I call myself the original parents. I mean, I wasn't born in 1800, but I'm one of the original Pacifica parents. My wife and I brought our girls to the co-op nursery school, then the alternative, eventually to Ocean Shore. We participated in all the schools willingly, understanding that our work mattered. As we went through this almost 14 years, our sense of family, the satisfaction we received in this unique environment, The knowing we were giving our children the best was real. It was palpable. When it came to an end last year, we were saddened. My grandchildren would not get this experience, what all of us, parents, children, and staff, have cherished. There was hope. We were told Sunset Ridge would be a co-location, a site that Ocean Shore would move on and not just fade away. Unfortunately, it became clear that not enough thought and surely not enough preparation for this transition had occurred. As a carpenter in San Francisco, a finished carpenter, my team and I could leave nothing to chance. When we set our very first nail, our very first piece of trim, our cabinet, it had to be dead on. We could not afford to make a mistake. So I'm basically saying that to reiterate how important planning is. And sometimes when it's not done well, something gets skipped, something is misunderstood, things screw up. So I believe that some of what occurred regarding the loss of Ocean Shore was the failure to recognize just how special the Ocean Shore experience was. And I'm not saying this as some elitist. I'm just this guy who brought the kids to school, and we found this incredible place, and it was what it was, incredible. Okay, so the parents were never asked by anybody, apparently, what would you do if this thing shuts down? Pretty simple question to ask people. Hey, where are you going to take your kids? Are you going to, we got other places, but well, I don't know if those people that didn't ask had no idea, but apparently they did not know that many would just leave. And the purpose, I found out later, for the shutdown was money. But 120, I think, families have gone, 1/4 of the people that the families of Ocean Shore parents. So it contradicted what was needed to be done. Okay, what the purpose was. Okay, finally, I will say this. I know this is 3 minutes. I didn't know I'd speak this long. So I'm not going to go away discouraged. One thing that all of us learned at our old school locations is that we can accomplish more than we ever knew. The cooperative spirit made us special, and we still have those who could move on positively. But
Thank you, sir.
And a big, the last thing, there's a big but to this, but we need help to do it.
Okay.
So there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Megan McKenna.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you in person. I am here to talk about public comments and the restrictions that have recently been put on public comments. About 6 months ago, the school board removed the ability to give public comment via Zoom, restricting comments to in-person only, unless, of course, a board member's on Zoom, which, you can't predict that. And with this restriction came a time constraint for yellow cards to be turned in before 6 p.m., with anything turned in after refused. I think we can all see the importance of public comment and for people to say what is needed to be said. Tonight alone is a good example. The Brown Act is an open meeting law. It requires public comment as a way to make local governance transparent, accountable, and participatory. Transparency ensures decisions are not made without public input or without public awareness. Participation is essential. It gives residents of Pacifica and parents alike a direct way to express concerns, support, or opposition before or during decision-making. Accountability, which is humongous. Public comment creates a public record, which can help others retrospectively see if the board ignored relevant concerns and acted lawfully, as well as a host of other issues. And to Megan behind me, I would say, don't talk in closed session. Like I looked back on all the meetings for the past few years. It's just so helpful to see the temperament of what's going on. It is so helpful. At the heart of this is trust, and allowing public comment builds trust with community. And the Brown Act requires that the public be allowed to comment before or during decision making. So when we talk about restricting public comment to in-person only, yellow cards must be turned in before 6, and then you think about the entire community. Like, how do you guys stand up? We have people who work and can't be here without taking time off, even if it's just for a few hours, and these requests have to come in sometimes 2 weeks in advance to their boss. An agenda is posted 72 hours in advance. It's making it really hard for many people. We have people with medically fragile or disabled family members and children, and they can't even grocery shop, let alone come to make a public comment without respite. Your decisions impact them, and their voice does matter. And Zoom is safe. Zoom allows people to call in, log in, participate regardless of their health, work, or family needs. And I would argue it's safer than in-person comment. Commenters on Zoom aren't even in the room. It doesn't have to be anonymous. You can set up the system so cameras must be on, full names must be used. You can have people register ahead of time. And you can take it a step further and make email public as well. Just inform people to put public comment in the subject line, and then you can attach those to the agenda after the fact. The City of Pacifica does this. It's really helpful. It's really nice. The Brown Act exists to ensure that local government decisions are made openly and that the public has a meaningful opportunity to participate. Its core pillars are transparency, accountability, and public participation. Public comment is intended to advance these principles. So I would ask the board to explain how the current public comment system meaningfully supports transparency, participation, and ensures accountability.
Thank you. And just a clarification, I don't know that we cut off yellow cards at 6. We usually will take them all the way. Okay. Anyway, Karen Key is our last comment in this section.
Thank you. I'm reading on behalf of Erica Torres, who couldn't be here tonight and couldn't make a comment on Zoom. So I've come to read her comment, which is, Dear Pacifica School Board, I'm the parent of a 3rd grader at OSS and a psychologist who deeply values project-based learning and strong community foundations. I know both professionally and personally that children learn best when they feel safe, heard, and seen. That was once the heart of OSS, but today it no longer feels that way. Like many families, we chose OSS for its alternative, values-driven approach to education. Setting politics aside, the current reality at OSS does not reflect the school we committed to. The vision that has taken hold, the behavior modeled by adults on all sides have been harmful to our children and to the broader community. Ideally, OSS would be allowed to operate as it successfully did in the past, or SRE would be thoughtfully integrated into the existing OSS model. If neither option is possible, then the district must consider offering meaningful alternatives. Choice strengthens communities. Without it, the district risks continued family departures and growing dissatisfaction. Parents who advocate for alternative education options are not entitled or adversarial. We are engaged, invested, and seeking collaboration for the well-being of our children and our community. Families who prefer a traditional model already have options. We are asking, where's the choice for the rest of us? I hope you take these concerns seriously as you determine the future of OSS and the district as a whole. I'm grateful to my community for sharing this message on my behalf as I am unable to attend in person. I'm rooting for you and for all of us. Respectfully, Dr. Erica Torres, parent OSS. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right. All right, so let's see. Moving on to board correspondence and communications.
I don't have any correspondence to share, but I have my regular meetings with Dr. Bowman and attended our special meeting last week. So that's it for me.
Okay, I attended a special board meeting last week regarding the superintendent search. Attended Ray Mueller's event with the Silicon Valley Community Foundation. The CTA brunch, there's a guest of Megan Ellsburn, and the keynote speakers were California Attorney General Rob Bonta and Congressman Kevin Mullins. and the workforce housing demolition. Attended the PG&E disconnecting the gas line on Friday morning. That was that was actually more exciting for the whole week.
I attended the monthly CSB. Oh, sorry. I attended the monthly meeting at the County Office of Ed. There was an informative presentation about CTE. Once I receive the slide deck, I'll share it with Dr. Bowman so she can send it on to our CTE coordinator. I also attended the superintendent search meeting and Ray Mueller's event. And I also attended the legislative breakfast organized by California Teachers Association with Elizabeth Bradall and Megan Ellsburn and Morgan Mooney. The purpose of that meeting is to try to ensure that our legislative goals are aligned. And that's it.
I attended the special meeting and we discussed the superintendent search and my one-on-ones with the superintendent.
All right. Before the break, I did a visit over at Sunset Ridge and actually saw a lot of the fourth graders that were here tonight become leaders. I also attended the San Mateo County Office of Education meeting before the break. Also, the special meeting regarding the superintendent search. Had a lunch with or meeting with LSCA, and also had a one-on-one with Superintendent Carissa Bowman. Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to attend the superintendent's meeting and Bake Lift's superintendent's meeting for initiatives for our early childhood. I also had the opportunity to go to the Silicon Valley donor meeting with Ray Mueller, short meeting with LSCA regarding negotiations. And I was able to meet with Dr. Marco Chavez from San Mateo County Office of Ed. And I'd just like to thank him for his financial support of Pacifica, as well as professional development support. They've been very generous with helping with both business positions and HR. That's it. Thank you.
All right. So moving on to the Valamar PTO financial presentation.
Hello there.
Hello, Valamar.
Yeah, all of us are here. Or I rolled less deep, just me today. Welcome, thank you. So we can just dive into the financial report as far as we are just presenting on our budget, our fundraising, and then what programs our PTO tries to fund in order to mostly support our classroom activities as well as our school programs. That's where the vast majority of our fundraising and funding goes to. I know there was also a question if we had any grants or matching funds. We do not have any grants. We do advertise for company match, but that is not the majority of our fundraising. All right, I think I'm ready for the next slide. Do I click it or do someone? Okay, I should click it. Thank you. Perfect. So yes, our role, we are all parents, all volunteer roles, and we are just committed to helping our school feel supported. So I just sort of stated through our mission, we are, as I said, all parents, all volunteer. We are a smaller board of folks. So this is our balance as far as the beginning of our fiscal year. We had about 70,000 after we had just purchased turf for our courtyard. We were hoping to have turf for more space in our thing, but we didn't quite have enough funding. So maybe future fundraising goal. And then we have a CD that we have that covers our next year's budget. So we try and keep at least 1 year's worth of income in a CD should fundraising not meet their goals, that programs don't suffer like most nonprofits attempt to for nonprofit health. And so our biggest fundraising comes from direct donation. So we do an ask of all of our parents where we say if every student donated this year, it was if every student donated $400, which is a pretty big ask, we would be able to cover everything without any additional fundraising. And our families are generous enough to show up in a big way for our direct donation. Our additional ones are this pony plop, which the kids absolutely love. They get to meet a pony and get some horse education and, you know, poops involved. So what's not to love? There we have a readathon, of course, to be supporting that, parent auction, our after school programs, and then we have a little fall festival. The majority of our program goes to funding our art program and our La Garza program for schools. So that is the majority. The second highest funds go to providing grade level funds for teachers to support field trips. And then we are attempting to fund, I guess would be a better way of saying it, the school buses this year as well. And so all of our other things are sort of smaller things. So our teacher appreciation, our ability to support homework club or other programs that have been deemed beneficial to the school community. And so then our big one-time things that you said we got a like electronic sign that is now posting when all of our events are happening. And then, as I said, that courtyard turf. And so we're hoping to expand that. And then, so this is our current actual budget comparison. We're still under budget, obviously, at the moment, because we still have a couple fundraisers in our future, our auction and our readathon, which tends to actually be our biggest one-time fundraiser is our readathon, because our teachers are so lovely in supporting kids getting out and reading and telling all of their extended family to support their reading cause. And so those are our two more things. And then the other things that we've been attempting to do is with our playground still being on pause, we've been attempting to fund additional playground activities or things that could be getting energy out for our 1st through 3rd grade, since that playground is, I don't know what the best word for it is. Under construction. Thank you. Questions, thoughts, feelings, concerns?
Question. I'm just curious if you ever reached out to the board or to the district to see about the turf in the middle of your courtyard.
Oh, to match that last little bit.
Yeah.
I think that there's been conversation in the past. I am obviously the new incoming president. I wasn't there last year. Our middle school had a lot of the people growing into roles and they all departed with, so we lost a lot of senior knowledge. But I do not believe that we asked when we couldn't cover the last square, because it was a like, can you cover it tomorrow? Ask by the turf people is my recollection.
Did you say that you're looking for things for the kids to do while the playground is under construction?
Yeah, so there's one playground that is deemed, so we have a playground that's deemed for like the 4th and 5th grade sizes, and then we have a playground that's deemed for like the TKK sizes. 1st through 3rd grade, they are a little needing more gross motor energy at the moment while the playground's on hold. So we've been attempting to put out things like jump rope. Ms. Vuskovic helped get a tetherball thing out there. And so there's been lots of brainstorming for gross motor, but that is has been a big focus in our meetings is kids feeling extra rambunctious with that playground not accessible.
Thanks. I was curious what kind of solutions you guys have found for that temporary fix. Creative.
Yeah, we're looking at those like blue blocks that the Bay Area Discovery Museum has, but we're a little nervous that they might turn into sword fighting. So so it's a big conversation in our meetings.
I just had a question, just to kind of keep with the other PTOs, is making sure that we've gotten your bylaws and the bank information, just to make sure that's gotten to the superintendent at some point.
I believe so. I believe we sent it with this when we sent this PowerPoint presentation, but if not, we
I
have
have both of them for Belmar. Thank
our
you.
bylaws and our 990s up to date and everything.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just making sure
Perfect.
we're tying up all of our loose ends. So, all right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thanks for meeting with us as
Yeah, thank
well.
you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, next we've got Sunset Ridge.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Nahn. I'm one of the co-presidents for the PTO for Sunset Ridge.
And I'm Alexis Stanfield, the other co-president.
I actually wanted to start off by thanking Elizabeth for attending our PTO meetings. It's been very helpful and informative this year. Dr. Bowman, you're reaching out to us and getting the conversation dialogue going, and I think it's worked well. There's certainly a lot of things that we need to work on, but it's a great start. So I appreciate that.
All right, so getting started. Our PTO mission is to enrich the life and learning of each student by encouraging family involvement in our school, promoting fundraising, offering support to our teachers, and fostering community relationships. As our wonderful principal Ellie was saying earlier, we truly are working on the we and us mentality on the campus this year. It could not be done without our wonderful rest of our team of PTO. So we have our co-vice presidents, Ashlyn Collins and Carolyn Feliciano, our treasurer, Claudia Nunn, our secretary, Megan Vila, our CPAC representative, Tiana Givens, our room parent coordinator, Kayla Cornington, our parent council representative, Crystal Watson, our website coordinator, Nate Hart, our diversity and inclusion active team coordinator, Judy Hildreth, and our snack shack coordinator, Mary Rogers.
All right. So most of our investments and expenditures for the school are for field trips, author visits, classroom supports. We try our best to help support our teachers by providing them teacher stipends for their supplies. Certainly, we don't want them going out of pocket for the expenses for the school. School-wide initiatives, art, library resources that are very central. I know our kids like to come home and talk about how great the library is, and they're very excited about it. So we want to always make sure that the library and art program is funded. Community events, family night, staff appreciation, dine outs, Boo Fest, very big at our school. On the right side, you'll see our net income for the last 3 years. We had some struggles getting out of COVID. We had some deficit spending, but it's certainly gotten better, and that's our balance right now as of the beginning of the year, 120,000 in our savings and checking account.
All right, so a little bit small here, but breaking down of our proposed budget for this school year, the total is 60,262 that we propose to be spending. The various categories are our prior year transactions, admin, which includes our administrative fees of insurance, CPA, subscription fees, operations such as website costs. For our various programs, that is primarily helping to support our Spanish class, our art, and our library. Faculty appreciation, which is pretty much our faculty appreciation or teacher appreciation week. Faculty and class support as its own category is individual percent of money that we provide to the teachers and to the staff members to supplement for various needs within classes or other supplies that they might be using. Sorry, our categories got a little bit mixed here, but under school support, that would include our family engagement, Junior Olympics, yearbook, and author visits, and then our field trips for TK through 5th grade.
All right. Apologies again for the small print. This is our proposed fundraising budget that the PTO got together and voted on and agreed to. And I don't want to go line by line here, but a couple things that I want to touch on. Like a lot of schools, our direct appeal is what we lean on from companies, community members, to help the school out. Sponsor reader is a big one for us also. Just this year, as we work with OSS, we're trying to work together on doing a fundraiser together and splitting the proceeds that we get from that. And the rest, I think it's just little small pieces here and there that we try to encourage the community and just to help us out on.
Small change to our proposed budget for this year. For our art program, our wonderful teacher Petra is paid through the California Art Council. That is a grant to pay the Sanchez Art Center to provide her pay. Typically, we do budget a certain amount to help to supplement that pay. And this year we had budgeted as previous years, or similar to previous years, a total of $7,500. The grant was not providing as much as expected this year. So to reconcile that amount received, we did offer an additional $2,500 for her.
All right. This is a comparison to the budget from the previous year for Boo Fest. We were able to fortunately bring in more money. We were getting a little worried that because of the weather that we wouldn't have a good turnout, but we were able to, and we did well. Market night was a nice success there. We were budgeting 3,300 and ended up with 5,000. It all goes to our 4th and 5th graders for the end of the year. Dough to Go was that, sorry.
A little bit less than expected, though, when we created the initial budget at the beginning of the year, the amount that we had budgeted comparing to previous years, we were actually looking at the total number, not taking away from any fees related to it. So we did over budgeted in our initial budget that we had approved by our PTO. However, the amount that we received this year compared to previous years was actually a positive.
It would help if I just read that footnote, huh?
Nothing right there.
And then lastly, our direct appeals. We're not. I think we're not doing as great as we did last year, but you know, we still have quite a couple months here to work on that and hopefully get more donations in to the school.
Thank you. And so as of what is that, about a week ago, total revenue that we have collected is $30,353. So again, going back to compare it to what we were hoping to raise this year, we're about halfway there, aiming for about $65,200. This is money specifically from the dine outs we've had, Boo Fest. We're in the middle of our direct appeal still and a second fundraiser with C's Candy, but that is as of right now. Looking forward to next year, pretty much continuing the awesome things that we're doing so far with our community focused events of Boo Fest, dine outs, and fundraisers.
I think that's it, right?
That's it.
Any questions?
Great presentation. I do have a question that about the art stipend. That was a significant increase. And I'm curious to hear what your process is when there are expenditures over budget.
Yeah, so we did take it to vote with the rest of our PTO. It essentially, with the rest of our team, we all brought up this same proposed budget, looking at where we had a bit of flexibility. in terms of the amounts that we did make from Boo Fest, from the various fundraisers so far, and making sure that we had a little bit of a buffer of what's currently in the bank account to be able to provide this.
I already got confirmation on all your documents, so that's good. But I didn't, I know. But I did want to say, and I didn't say this, well, basically to all the PTO presidents, is that this is a thankless job, and I appreciate all the hard work you guys put in, and it's much needed, and just thank you. I think we've got maybe 4 PTO presidents here on the board, so we know very much how hard it is. So thank you.
I appreciate you saying that, but I disagree with you. It is a very thankful job. I got lots of happy faces when I go to school, and so it is makes me feel good right there.
Awesome. Well,
Yep.
great. I'm glad to hear that.
Of course.
I just wanted to add something.
Sure.
I was there at your back to school night. I think it was back to school night. Well, I think it was Mac Barnett was the guest speaker. I was like, wow, how did they do this? And so I see that that's already in your budget. Well, because I work in a library at a neighboring school district, and that would be like a dream. So I just thank you for giving the kids that opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
So tomorrow's family reading night at Sunset Ridge. So
Is it February?
no, it's tomorrow.
It
is
tomorrow. Yes. Yeah. So themed rooms, various, the PTO, actually, we decided to have a reading room tomorrow for the first time. I don't know if it's happened before, but at least with our PTO. So we have lots of themed books and dressing up, and definitely thankful children.
Since Dr. Bowman did a plug for there, I'd like to say that we're also doing another dine out next week. So just throw that out there. Shameless plug. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Next is projected enrollment and staffing for 2026, 2027 with Martha Ladd and Rachel Romo.
Good evening and thank you. Tonight we're going to talk about projected enrollment and staffing. And my part of the presentation is to talk about how we do projected enrollment and how we look at what we are thinking are the number of students we're going to have for next year and what considerations we take into account when making those determinations. And then Ms. Romo here is going to talk about then how she takes that information and we work together with our labor partners and the rest of cabinet and our principals to determine staffing for next year. So enrollment considerations that we have for analysis, we look at trends, and the first thing that we're looking at is what is current enrollment? Where are we now? And what have been the enrollment trends and the changes that we have seen? So the first thing is that the school configuration changes that we had last year changed a lot of the enrollment variables for our long-term projections in the King report we had. So for instance, the King report gave us projections for Ocean Shore and Valamar that included TK or a K-8, and both of those schools are now TK-5s or K-5s. And so those enrollment projections are now different. And also the enrollment projections for Cabrillo are also different because those classes, TK through 5, are showing an increase in enrollment, are now more full. And also we've seen an increase in enrollment at IBL because the 6th through 8th graders that were in the Valamar and Ocean Shore programs are now matriculating to either Cabrillo or IBL. So we have seen increases of enrollment in those schools, but overall a decrease in enrollment across the whole district. And as was mentioned, it's about 120 students across the district. The number of students attending our schools are as follows. Ocean Shore currently has 564 students, which is an increase. Ocean Shore is at 189, which is about a decrease of 31 students. However, about 8 to 10 of those students have actually inter-district transferred in the K through 5 to either Valamar or Ortega. Sunset Ridge is at 351. Ortega is at 390 currently. Valamar is at 395. And Ingrid B. Lacey is at 641. The next big consideration that we have is every year we have a group of new students that come into the school district. So of course, new students can come into any one of our grades, but the biggest grades that they come into are TK and kindergarten. This year is the first year where our TK students are going to be able to stay in the same school that they're in now without having to go through a second round of lottery. And I'm excited to be able to say that all the children that are in their current school, all their families are electing to stay. At least last time I asked that question, that was the answer to it. All the TKs are staying in their current school and all rolling over in the same class. So it seems to have been a relief to our TK families, at least. And then of course, we're looking at attrition trends. So we maintain a list of when people leave, why they leave, and where they went and why they left. And so we look at those attrition trends. And then of course we manage our special education staffing. So of course, now we get to some charts. This chart shows our enrollment comparison over time. And when we worked with King, they showed us a moderate enrollment projection, a low enrollment projection, and a high enrollment projection. Their recommendation was that we base our enrollment projections, or we use that variable based on the moderate enrollment projection. Our current enrollment right now is at 2,559 students, which is actually below the low projected enrollment projection for this year, but in the middle between moderate and low for next year. So in working with Cabinet, we've decided that we're going to base our numbers off of the low enrollment projection numbers in the coming school year. Then the other things on the chart that we look at are things like birth rates, birth to school rate, the number of new births over time. And so we're noticing in our attrition trends that we have seen a number of families actually moving out of the district. In fact, 40% of the decrease in enrollment was due to families moving out of the district. And then the last slide, of course, is a deeper look at our TK and Kinder projections. So our current TK enrollment is at 159. The TK enrollment, moderate enrollment was 150 for next year. We're a little bit above that currently, but our current registered lottery cards right now, parents who have turned in registered lottery cards for TK lottery, which is coming up in the next 2 weeks, is 83 cards. That is based on our historian, Nicole Ortega, a little low, but we're checking at enrollments at the local preschools, and we're hopeful that this number could come up. Kinder enrollment is currently a little low than the projected low, but with the 171 of our kids, which includes students in students with disabilities, with currently 171 students already committed to returning, we have a total of 193 students altogether returning and registered in the lottery. So that kindergarten is looking pretty solid right now. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Ms. Rama.
Yes, so we use the predictions of enrollment, right, to staff to enrollment. So that is another shift that we're making for the school year. Our goal for the 2026-2027 school year is to continue to staff our school sites based off of student enrollment. And we use the LSEA contract guidelines to help with this process. So I took these points from the contract, 11.1.1, the district may staff kinder through third grade classes 24-1, and then for 4 through 8 self-contained classrooms, it's 32+1. For TK, it is 2 adults for every 20 students. So those are the guidelines that we use. And then we also have this allocation calculator that we share with our site principals. We look at the total enrollment for kindergarten through third grade, removing our special day class students. We add up the number of students in kinder through third grade, and then we divide that number by 24, which is 1 class size, and that gives us X. And then we do the same for 4 through 8. So we look at all of our 4 through 8 grade students at that school site, and we divide it by 32+1, which is 1 class. And then that determines the number of teachers to support 4th through 8th. And then we add those two numbers together, the FTE for K through 3, and then the FTE for 4 through 8. And then looking at TK, right, making sure it's very strategic that 1 teacher and 1 paraprofessional have 20 students. So really depending on our TKK enrollment for those FTE. And that's kind of on this slide. So because of the enrollment changes at Cabrillo and Ocean Shore, those are the most dramatic. We will have to make adjustments in staffing to support those 2 school sites to make sure that we are staffing to enrollment. The remaining sites are consistent with student enrollment. And like I said, TKK, depending on how many students register and show up, that will determine how many FTE we have for those 2 grade levels. Overall, we are seeing a decrease in student enrollment. So as a district, we really have to look at the whole school district to determine what our staffing looks like for the next school year. Looking at individual school sites, looking at the district office, making sure that we make adjustments to support our current student population for next school year. We're brainstorming with our union partners, bringing this up at negotiations, talking to our site leaders to see what supports they might need with the increase in students and the changing of their programs, right? Not having the middle school component anymore. What's working and what we can do to support moving forward. Any questions?
I have a question. What does it mean when I read 24+1 or 32+1?
Yeah, so the union contract. So Ed Code and the union contract. So kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade classes, they have 24 students in their class with 1 teacher. And then for 4th through 8th grade, self-contained. So like at Cabrillo, they can have 32 students on their roster +1. And we would do a +1 to avoid like a combination class with there's only like 2 students in that grade level that maybe need a spot. So they would do 32+1 to avoid a combination class. No problem.
Any other questions?
I have one. Just so that the audience knows, the staffing to enrollment was something that we just started about 2.5 years ago. So I just wanted to follow up and see how the staff is adjusting to it, as well as the parents. I mean, because the class sizes may be full now, whereas before, maybe they were 15 instead of 24. And so I'm just wondering if we have any finds on how it's working or the sites.
As the former principal of 2 sites, I know that those 2 sites were staffed to enrollment. So I don't think that at those 2 sites, it's a big change. I think that that's something that was a common practice at the 2 sites that I was leading. We're working with, like I said, union partners, but that's definitely a question that we can propose moving forward. What have they heard? Any feedback that they have to share with us and supports? But yeah, that's a good question. Thank you.
And I can say that we hear about lots of stuff, but class size is not one that has been a regular ask or something that I've responded a lot to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and we do have one public comment on this item from Sue Beckmeyer.
Hi, friends. Sue Beckmeyer, library media technician at Cabrillo School, and longtime resident and longtime employee. I want to encourage you to keep the door open on the negotiations for salary for classified. I noted with interest the projections. And of course, when you look at ADA, that equals money. And money is what we use to pay people and pay for all our benefits, et cetera. So I appreciate the conservative approach of planning to go to the low, even though where you fall right now is between low and moderate. And my urging and question and ask for you tonight is to please have a very detailed financial discussion with the negotiating team after first interim, after the census date is done, and we have a better idea of what our actual enrollment is. Because of course, all the financial projections are going to be based off of the low enrollment figure. And if it turns out it's better news than we thought, we want to make sure that those dollars are part of the conversation when the teams meet. Sometimes that gets forgotten. And, then the next year, another whole thing happens. And pretty soon we never get back to it. And then we end up where we are. And you heard from my colleagues earlier this evening, loud and clear on that front. I will share one thing in that arena, at the compensation arena, and why I think it's really important that this is a laser focus for you is because our minimum wage amounts are going up everywhere. And Pacifica is not a city that has its own minimum wage ordinance, thankfully, because that's not easy to do. We go with what the county is. And there are a few of our job classes presently that don't make that. And there needs to be an adjustment. And of course, that throws the whole salary schedule into a whole thing. So the better we can do in zeroing in on these dollars and making sure our salaries are competitive for CSEA, the better, just because we won't have those domino effects. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we're moving on to action items. Did we do these speakers before?
We just have one for.
We'll do that first. Okay, we'll first have a speaker on the approval of project labor agreement for workforce housing. This is Bart Pentaglio. I'm probably totally butchered up, but I apologize.
This is a comment on the item.
Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Bart Pantoja. I appreciate the effort and the attempt. It is so it's a name that has built character over many, many years. I'm the business manager, secretary, treasurer of the Building Trades Council here in San Mateo County. I represent over 20 trade unions, representing over 50 trade classifications and approximately, well, actually more than 10,000 construction workers who work in San Mateo County and many who reside here in Pacifica. We have a lot of, I've had fellow workers that live in Pacifica, grew up here. So working here close to home is very, very important to us. I'm just speaking. Oh, I don't have a time limit? Oh, damn, I shouldn't have said anything. So project labor agreements. These are pre-hire agreements that set clear rules for wages, safety, scheduling, and dispute resolution before construction begins, ensuring smooth, efficient projects. PLAs are a win both for taxpayers and the community. The way it delivers for taxpayers is it is an insurance policy. It's a job site constitution with clear safety and wage and scheduling standards with a no strike, no lockout provision, which can prevent costly delays. It's cost effective. UC Berkeley research confirms PLAs do not raise construction costs. California studies show PLA projects are 15 to 19% faster, therefore reducing costs from rework, disputes, and labor shortages. We're very efficient through skilled labor, guaranteed access to trained local workforce, improves quality, and avoids expensive mistakes. Transparency and accountability. There's real-time wage compliance safeguards in PLAs. Prevailing wage on public funds. You have the Department of Labor They can take a minimum of 18 months to hear a case. With a project labor agreement, we can get things settled and handled in less than a month. So workers are paid the money they're owed. See how much time I have. So the benefits for workforce development is we keep public dollars local. PLAs increase local hire, opening the doors to careers through state certified apprenticeship. 80% of California apprentices train through union trade apprenticeship programs. 60% of these are people of color, and growing. We have 30% of that as women, and we're growing those numbers every month and every year. Some Tip San Mateo is an example of success using a local apprenticeship. We've prepared about 300 residents for union careers since 2014. Better, safer job sites. Apprenticeship trained workers have a 31% lower injury rate and fewer OSHA violations in comparison to projects built without apprenticeship. So the bottom line here is that we'll maximize the public good. It'll strengthen the workforce pipeline through for the next generation of skilled workers. And I'm in support of the PLA. We hope that you vote in favor to approve it and lead by example and deliver efficient, equitable infrastructure and housing. Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll invite up our speakers on this item. This is Lev from Brookwood Group.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent, and Cabinet. We're here before you today to present some of the highlights of the PLA agreement, although I think Bart probably covered almost everything that I'm going to talk about. So I apologize for being a little redundant. We have provided the Board of Trustees with the full agreement, but we're asked to provide a synopsis of some of the highlights. After we went through the first round of bidding, we were asked by the Board of Trustees to enter into a negotiation with the San Mateo County Central Labor Council to establish a PLA. We worked with John Niblin, who's the general counsel for the County of San Mateo, who has had experience working with the Labor Council in the past. And it was a very smooth negotiation, very collegial. As Bart said, they represent union contractors working throughout San Mateo County. The draft labor agreement, was included in the RFP that we issued for rebidding the project. And all the responders to the RFP have integrated the requirements into their bids. They will be required once we enter into a contract to have both themselves and all their subcontractors sign an exhibit that's part of the PLA to certify that they understand the content and will abide by all the provisions of the PLA. The highlights going forward: workers on the project will be presented by the unions who are signatory to this agreement and employed by the contractors and subcontractors who are also signatory to this agreement. The agreement will apply to, it applies and is limited to all contractors, employees performing work under a construction contract on the project. The agreement will govern all construction contracts awarded on the project. And the agreement shall not apply to work performed by the district's own employees. The agreement shall not apply to contractor employers, non-construction craft executives, managerial employees, administrative personnel, and supervisors above the level of general foreman unless covered by a master agreement. The district has the right to select any qualified bidder for the award of a construction contract under this agreement, and the bidder need only be willing, ready, and able to execute and comply with this agreement. There shall be no strikes, sympathy strikes, work stoppages, picketing, handbilling, or otherwise advising the public that a labor dispute exists or slowdowns of any kind for any reason by the unions or employees employed on the project, at the job site of the project, or any other district facility because of a dispute on the project. I had the joy of the first project I ever worked on when I came out of school with a non-union out-of-town contractor in Hayes Valley in San Francisco, and you can only imagine it ended up in quite the conflict with the Carpenters Union in San Francisco's offices were actually right next to the job site. So we ended up having to have a dual gate system and a lot of slowdowns and shutdowns on the job because of picketing. So then finally, there shall be no lockout of any kind by a contractor, employer of workers employed on the project. If the district or any contractor contends that any union has violated this article, an expedited arbitration procedure will be used to adjudicate. Contractors, employees shall employ apprentices from a California state-approved joint apprenticeship program, and contractors, employers, and union agree to utilize the services of the Center for Military Recruitment Assessment and Veterans Employment Program to serve as a resource for referral to apprentice programs or hiring halls. So the Brookwood Group does recommend that the Board of Trustees accept the final draft and that the date be entered of February 1st, 2026 for the agreement to become executed. Any questions?
I just need a clarification. I read it like twice, but just to make sure. So if the awarded contractor needs a subcontractor, are those subcontractors required to be union as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought.
There's just a little provision that the subcontractor itself doesn't have to necessarily be union, but all labor it hires has to be union. So everybody on the work site, everybody will be a union worker. Welcome.
Sorry. Are there any other questions? All right. Do I have a motion? There is one more comment. Yes, sorry.
How you doing? Thank you for letting me speak
state your
tonight.
name. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
my name is Joe Lopez. I'm with the NorCal Carpenters Union. I just wanted to speak on the actual PLA that's being represented. So NorCal Carpenters Union is no longer part of the building trades. And so when it comes to the this PLA that's being presented today, we were not part of the negotiations, which we would like to have that opportunity to be a part of the negotiations for the school board because we are not part of the building trades. If there were carpenter related work that was happening that is not being covered through prevailing wage, or there's any type of like not flaws, but let's just say they're not compliant, we are not part of that. So they can go any which way. There's no supervision on it. They say there is, but there isn't. And we weren't even aware that you guys actually met with the building trades. So to say that you guys are in full unison with all unions is incorrect, because the Carpenters Union for San Mateo County is not a part of that PLA, nor did we negotiate it. We do also have pre-qual language that we've been developing that is a little bit more advanced to be flexible for area standard wages, benefits for all families, and also apprenticeship for all the areas. So anybody can come in and say, hey, I'm not part of this union or that, but I do meet these requirements to bid on your job because I'm part of the area standard. So the goal of the Carpenters Union is to raise the workers I'm sorry, I can't think right now. Work situation, job site, raise all the standards. I didn't write anything down. I'm sorry. I'm just as off the top of the head. But yeah, we would like to negotiate with that. I mean, I didn't know you guys were voting on it today. If that's the case, I mean, if we can meet before that or even put this on pause so we can just show you where we stand in this. But as of right now, if this passes, the Carpenters Union is not part of this PLA agreement. And so we don't abide by those rules that were just said about striking and about, raising awareness and bringing it to the public, because if we find that there is carpenters that are not being covered for any reason, we will let the public know that they're not covered. And we don't want that for the residents of Pacifica or for San Mateo County residents. So that's our stance on that. Thank you.
Just to be crystal clear and transparent, we asked the Carpenters Union that the gentleman is representing to pass along comments to the PLA, and while we were under negotiation, they failed to pass along any comments. And we were advised by the General Counsel of San Mateo to close the negotiation and present the PLA to you.
All right. Are there any other questions?
Not so much question, but I was part of the meetings and conversations where they were invited to join in the negotiation.
Okay.
So I do know that happened. I was there.
Okay, great. Okay.
I just have a comment as well while you're doing that. My husband is with the local 22 in San Francisco, and he's been following the meetings with the Carpenters Union, and the people who are bidding on it are reputable. As far as, he knows he's been in the Carpenters Union since '89. And so with your comment and with what I know from my husband, I feel okay going forward.
Okay, we do have one more comment, that come up. It is Armando Sanchez.
Hello, my name is Armando Sanchez. I'm the executive director of Heart of San Mateo County, and I kind of want to speak to the item A and B. Should I wait for the next item? It's more related.
You can speak to A now, or you can wait.
No, I'm just supportive of the project, so I'll wait for the B.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, then, do I have a motion? Do I have any other questions from the board? Comments or thoughts? All right, do I have a motion to approve the project labor agreement for workforce housing?
I'd like to motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second? Right. Have these speakers first.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next item, which is the awarding the general contractor contract for workforce housing. We do have 5 speakers before we get into that. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and have Mr. Sanchez come up first.
Thank you. I'm on the right item now. So again, my name is Armando Sanchez. I'm the executive director of Heart of San Mateo County, and I've been supporting and working with you on and off with this project for probably 7-8 years myself. So I am ecstatic to see that it's reached the point where you are awarding a contract to begin construction. And I just wanted to show up to fully encourage you to move forward with this project. The cost of housing for staff, the cost of construction of any housing is never going to go down. And so taking the step now and bringing this project forward is really important. The people standing sitting in your seats 10, 20 years from now will be extremely thankful to the action that you would take today to, approve this project, because future generations will benefit dramatically from the actions you take today. So just here to support all your work you've done, and past board members as well, and superintendents on this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Nels DeLander.
Good evening, President, trustees, superintendent, and members of the district. My name is Nels DeLander. I'm a field representative of Carpers Local 217 of San Mateo County. First, I want to thank the board on its decision to rebid the Pacifica Workforce Housing Project. That decision demonstrated transparency, responsibility, and a clear commitment to deliver the best possible outcome for our teachers and our Pacifica community. Pacifica Workforce Housing is about stability, respect, and long-term support for our educators. By taking the time to rebid the project, the board showed that they were focused on doing the right, not just quickly, and the kind of diligence matters. The rebid process has produced a responsible and capable builder as Robert Obayashi. Obayashi is a general contractor known for their reliability, professionalism, and successful delivery of complex public projects. School districts and public agencies depend on the contractors who can be trusted and manage work responsibly and follow through from start to finish. And Obayashi has proven the track record for doing exactly just that. Equally important is how the project is built. Obayashi's projects are supported by skilled, well-trained workers who are treated with respect and provide safe, well-managed job sites. When workers are supported properly, projects run well smoothly, quality improves, and the entire community benefits. For these reasons, I respectfully encourage the board to award the Pacifica Workforce Housing Project to Robert Obayashi. I believe the decision best supports the district's goals, protects workers' public resources, and ensures that the successful project for the teachers, workers, and wider community. Thank you again for your leadership and commitment to do responsibly stewardship. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, the next speaker is Scott Smith.
Good evening. I am Scott Smith, President and CEO of James E. Roberts Obayashi Corporation. I just wanted to put a face to who we are. We are the low bidder on the workforce housing project and give you some comfort that we're there to help you realize a dream of creating workforce housing. We've been in business for 94 years. We've completed the USF faculty housing. We just finished Albany graduate housing. We're working with Berkeley Unified School District on creating teacher workforce housing. Right now, we're in a construction on 110 units in Berkeley. All we do is multifamily housing. We typically negotiate 100% of our work, but we were asked to bid this one. So we want to roll up our sleeves and help you guys get the project to where you need it to be. And we want you to know that we're there to be a partner with you guys. One of my superintendents that we'll put on the project is actually a Pacifica resident, which is not something that we get the convenience of very often, but we do have somebody that gets to work close from home, hopefully. We want you to be comfortable that we've signed many PLAs. It's something that we do. We are a union contractor, so we're signatory in our master agreement with the Carpenters Union, with the Laborers Union and operating engineers. So although they're not a direct party to the PLA, we have a master agreement that we've signed with the Carpenters Union so that we take all of that liability in meeting all of the carpenter requirements and making sure that all of our subcontractors also meet those requirements in addition to the PLA requirements. So I'm here to answer any questions if they come up in your discussions, but I just want to at least put a face to the name. And we are hopeful that we'll get to work with you guys on this. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Right, next is Robert Blake.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Robert Blake. I am a senior estimator for James E. Roberts Obayashi Corporation, and I worked on the bid for this project. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight, and I want to thank you for allowing us to bid on this project. I want to echo a lot of what Scott said as far as who we are and what we do. And one thing we do is we take pride in doing a good job. We're builders. We're not brokers. Our passion comes from wanting to build it and build it the right way. It's something that's ingrained in the company. It's something that we ingrain in all the subcontractors, all the suppliers, everybody we work with. It's an expectation. And when you build like that, it's fun. And I get a lot of personal joy out of doing this and working hard and delivering good projects, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a homeless shelter, whether it's a school, et cetera. I understand that this is a big project for Pacifica. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to work on this, and want to just let you know that you have our commitment to bring what we've brought for 94 years to this project and deliver it successfully, on time, efficient. And we also understand, it's in the middle of a residential neighborhood. There's a lot of kids there. It's going to be a lot of activity, and we take that very seriously, whether it's safety, et cetera. So like Scott said, we do a lot of return client business, and we're there from the beginning, we're there at the end, and we even go into the warranty period and even beyond. Scott doesn't care if it's a year and 6 months, if it's 2 years, if it's a warranty issue, you go down there and you fix it and you make it right. And it's nice to work for somebody like that, and it's nice to do work like that. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but I want to just thank you for your time considering us, and hopefully we get to be a part of your team and do this project together. So thank you all.
All right, thank you. And Andy Lee.
Good evening, Superintendent Bowman, President Brotini, and members of the board. Andy Lee, trustee with Jefferson Union High School District, but here in my personal capacity as a resident of Pacifica and a former PSD parent. I would encourage you to approve this contract this evening. I recognize it is a lot of money. I've sat on that side approving a similar project in recent years. And having those hard questions and those discussions is important. But I just want to remind you that this is an investment. This investment in housing is an investment in staff, which is therefore an investment in our students. Some of the things you're going to see when this project is complete: your retention will improve, your recruitment will improve. JUHSD, we used to have 25% annual turnover of staff, and now it's less than 5% annually. You will become a desirable employer for potential new staff members because you will have one thing that most districts in the state of California do not have: housing. The other thing, if you are concerned about being able to fill these spots, remember that last year, AB 1021 was passed, and that will allow employees from any LEA to be able to live in those units with any sort of arrangement you choose to make as a district. And lastly, staff retention will lead to improved outcomes for your students and for our students. Because remember that if our educators cannot give the best to our students if they are struggling with housing insecurity, and by providing housing security for staff, you're going to see, I think, incredible outcomes for students. And I'm really excited for what you're about to embark on. I've been on that journey before, and I'm looking forward to being able to walk alongside as a resident and as a fellow board member. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So if we could bring Lev back up to talk to us from Brookwood Group.
Hello again. We got more questions during the bidding process from Robert Blake than everybody else combined, which meant that he was really digging into the drawings and looking under the hood and trying to figure out everything. So it was taxing to have to answer all his questions, but we know that he really was on it and knows what needs to get done to get the project built. This is going to be a little long. There's a lot of number of pages here. There's a lot to go through because we want to sort of, in a way, go back to the beginning of why we're here and then give you a lot of detail about the bidding and some information about rent projections and the financial implications of the decision you're going to make tonight. It's been noted by some of the other speakers that the mission of this project is not to build housing, but is to provide the best education possible for the children who attend school in Pacifica. The quality of the education of the students suffers if it's difficult to retain staff and difficult for the staff to do their best, as mentioned, if they're housing insecure. Providing affordable housing is a great opportunity for the community to help attract and retain quality educators, and teachers and staff living in Pacifica and not having to commute from outside of the area where they would find cheaper rents will strengthen both the educational experience for the students and build a stronger community and contribute to long-term stability and improve work-life balance. Developing the affordable housing project on the site on Onstadt Boulevard is a great opportunity to meet this goal. Of course, we all know that school has been mothballed for quite a number of years. It's back in the valley, which has great weather. It's near a lot of open space. And it's a great location for housing. And the community has expressed their support of the project by approving Measure G in March to provide funding for the project. We're talking about tonight awarding the first 45 units of the project. So we wanted to go over the site plan real quick, just to make sure that the board understands what that means. I don't have a pointer, but if you look to, if I'm looking at I see a pointer hump there. Is that a hand that I can manipulate, or is somebody else doing that? The first phase of the project is to this side of the main entry drive, which is the road that you see with the purple trees alongside the drive. And that consists of 45 units. The 45 units are contained in 4 buildings. There's an apartment building with 21 units. And then there are 3 townhouse buildings with the balance of 24 units, so 8 units per townhouse building. And those are combinations of 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom townhomes. In the first phase of the project, we'll also be rehabilitating the adjacent sports field, restriping and rehabilitating the basketball court that you see on the screen, building the public service building, which is a building which contains locker rooms, toilet rooms, and a snack shack for serving the activities on the sports field. Number 1 is the Commons building, which is an area for gathering for the residents as well as for the community to use. And then there's a management office at the entrance to the project where all of the leasing and the day-to-day management of the project, as well as all the mail and package room, will exist. To that side of me on the drawing is phase 2, which is an additional 25 units. And as funding becomes available for that, or a partner becomes available for that, that can be added to the scope of the project. But tonight we're just talking about phase 1. These are typical unit plans. So this is one of the apartment floors of the apartment building. And you can see the 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments, and they're single story, and they're 2 floors of apartments with an opened corridor and open stair access. You can see that there's storage units available for the residents, as well as what storage they have within their residence. These are the model plans for the townhome units. You can see that the one in blue is an end unit, so that has 3 bedrooms. And then the ones that are what we call inline, which would not be on the ends of the buildings, are the 2-bedroom townhomes. And these are 3-story or 2-story. So it's living on the first floor and then bedrooms on the second floor of each unit. And then each unit has 1 inside parking space and then 1 outside parking space. These are renderings of the project as you'll see it from Odstedt Boulevard. One of the key components of the landscaping development of the project is that we're saving all of the large Monterey cypresses that are along Odstedt Boulevard. And so there'll be a nice, very old growth, mature landscape as part of the project. Then you can see the townhouse building is what you're seeing in the foreground. This is a view looking across from the field to the public service building where the snack shack is, and it has an adjacent outdoor space for seating. And you see the rest of the project in the background. This is a view of the management office at the entry to the site. And then this is another overall view of the site as you're looking from the west toward the east, and you can see the project is nicely situated in the valley. This is a quick summary of some of the landscape amenities that there'll be on the project. There'll be a pergola that will cover a dining area, barbecue and dining area. There'll be the adjacent field for sports, ping pong table for activities. The basketball court will be rehabilitated, and then a number of interesting landscaping elements and pathways and gardens. And we're required to provide a lot of native landscaping. So there'll be a lot of native landscaping and low water use landscaping throughout the project. And then these are renderings of the interiors of 2 of the apartment units. And what we did was we selected 2 colorways so that there's some options for the prospective tenants to select between both floor plans and the finishes in the units. We all know it's taken a long time to get here. It's taken a long time to get here for a lot of different reasons. Building in California is incredibly complicated with all the regulations that we have to face, with costs of construction, with environmental issues, with energy issues, and building code issues, and community issues of working something like this through a community. It's a very close-knit community and has a lot of interest in the project. Takes a lot of work. The project was finally approved by the city council in May of 2023, which was a milestone, and it was slowed down quite a bit by the pandemic. So there was a number of years where things were really not moving at all, and it and a lot of pushing had to be put onto the planning department in Pacifica to get there. So that was finally approved in May of 23. And in addition to the approval by the city council, there's a development agreement which was required, and that took another sort of epic losing my words here, but it took a lot of work to get through the number of people who had to review the development agreement. And when it was finally ready to be signed, it was noted that there were some spelling mistakes and some things that hadn't gotten picked up, and it took another 3 months just to get that taken care of. So it was really kind of laborious. Shortly after the development agreement, we submitted for the building permit in January of 2025, and we waited for the first round of comments on the building permit application to assess the impact to the drawings and the engineering of the project, to make sure that when we send out the project for bidding, it anticipated some of the additional changes that were going to have to be made to the set. So that was a little bit of a further delay in getting to the point where we could send out for bidding. Then, of course, as we all know, the first bid came back above the project budget back in August, and in September we decided to rebid the project. So the second round of bidding started immediately after that decision, and we needed to send out our queues for qualifications for another round of general contractors, and then whittle that down, and then select and move forward with the actual formal bid that happened in January, or in November, excuse me. So we accepted the bids about 14 days ago, and we're in front of you today to ask for you to award to Roberts Obayashi. In the interim, while we were waiting for the rebidding, we've gone forward with hiring a demolition contractor, and we are, I would say, safely hours away from being issued that demolition permit. We had cleared 2 of the 3 departments in the city, and we submitted additional information to the planning department the beginning of this week for them to sign off on it. So we're very optimistic that we'll be able to formalize that this week. And one of the big milestones was getting PG&E to remove the gas service last week, which happened, which we were very excited about. And we hope that with the award that we'll be able to start construction next month. There was a request, I think, at our last meeting about rents and the affordability of the project. So we have gone back, and when we were before you in 2024 discussing the budget and the approval to move forward with the full 70 units, we had done a rent revenue projections, but we had to update that for the 45 unit project and for the fact that it's a little bit later in the current rents, and how we extrapolate from the current rents to the future rents have changed. So we've gone through that process. Many teachers and staff are currently paying more than 30% of their gross salary for housing expenses, and that's very typical of teachers throughout the state of California, and why we've had this conversation about how important it is to build the housing. Those renters would be considered rent burdened if they're paying over 30% of their gross salary, which I'm assured that many are. We had originally targeted the market rate reductions in rents at around 70% when we were before you earlier. We think that there's some opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive than the 70%. We know that JUHSD is targeted 50%, but we don't have as large a building, and we don't have as much revenue from the units that we have. So it's a little bit more challenging to get to that point. But the decision was made not to have any debt financing. So there's a spread between the revenue that you will be getting from the rents and the operating expenses of the project. So there's some flexibility there with that rent revenue in order to either return it to the general fund or to use it to try to lower the rents a little more, especially for teachers who are maybe new hires who are on the lower end of the salary schedule. One of the real advantages of the proposal, and why we're recommending moving forward, is that with the turnover, subsidized housing will really reduce your turnover and reduce teacher training costs and save you money on that end as well. And then I know that it's been very concerning of the board that there will be no money required from the general fund to pay for the project. The money is completely supported by the bond measure, and there's no risk of the revenue not providing enough to cover the operating expenses. And so the general fund is not at any risk. You cannot read this, of course, but this is a table that shows all of the 45 units, and it's separated by the apartment units at the top, and then the units that are colored on the bottom are the townhouse units. And what we've done is we've taken the comparable rents for this comparable unit types today, current numbers, and then we've extrapolated those for 2 years at approximately about 4% rent increase per year, which from research is what has been the experience in Pacifica over the past like 5 years. And then we've looked at 60% of market rate for the rents to be set in 2027 and 70%. So that's what that column is. And what ends up at the bottom of the column is what is your monthly revenue from those different rent targets. Then we took those monthly rent revenues and we looked at the different unit rents, and we looked at what it would cost a renter if they did not want to spend more than 30% of their income on the rent. What would their yearly income requirement need to be? So this is a projection at both at the 60% at the 70% market rate of rents for the 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments and the 2-bedroom townhomes and 3-bedroom townhomes. And you can see on the lower end of the rent at 60% of market rate at $1,860, a single household income renter would have to make $74,400, which is higher than what a lot of your teachers are making. So the note on the bottom is saying that since there are 21 of those units, it is possible that some of those units will be occupied by a 2-person household who has a higher income than just a 1-person household. You have the flexibility to use some of that spread between the rent revenue and your operating expenses to potentially lower some of the 1-bedroom units to be a little more affordable for the new teachers that you will be hiring. The other unit types, because they're larger and have the opportunity for the household incomes to be significantly larger, don't have that same challenge. But we presented that information so you can see the difference between the 60% and the 70% in terms of making some decisions about how to establish the final rents. And then this last slide, in terms of the rent evaluation, is just to look at the overall yearly rental revenue for each 60 and 70% of market rate. There will be a slight loss in the revenue based on vacancy, and we've shown that at 10%. Operating expenses are the management company that you'll have to hire to oversee the project, their staff, landscape work, maintenance, normal maintenance, and then establishing a reserve for future maintenance needs. And so that is established at $10,000 per unit. So that's the $450,000 number. And so you can see that the net revenue, the 60% market rate is $617,000 a year. And then at the 70% market rate would be close to $800,000 a year. So that's money that can be returned to the general fund or used to be a little bit more aggressive about the rent levels. And then once it gets returned to the general fund, that can become part of what is support the district budget. Before I run on to the next section, are there any questions about that? Because it's a lot of information and it's kind of complicated.
Sorry. I have a big concern, and I don't want to say it right now, but I will. I'm concerned about our classified employees and how they're going to afford a 1-bedroom on their salary. So it's understandable if they're married and, you know, there's 2 incomes that are coming in. But if you have a single parent with a child who's making, you know, $1,200 a month, $1,500 a month, I'm wondering how we can subsidize it so that that employee can partake in our staff housing.
Right.
not
That-
just the teacher.
Right.
but
Right. And that's
staff.
why we were saying that, you know, this net revenue slide, you have, you know, let's say that you decide to go to the 60% market rate rent, you have $617,000 to do that with, to decide, okay, we're going to set aside, you know, 5 units and we're going to look at those prospective tenants who have expressed interest and this is their salary level. What do we need to do to get them in at that level? So there's flexibility is in your control.
With the 617,000.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Welcome. Anything else on that? Okay. Sorry to throw all this math at you and at this point of the evening, but to go back, we in December of 2024, the decision was made to support the project at a $55 million level. And that is the total project budget. That's not the construction budget. So that left us with $47 million of what we call hard costs, which is a combination of what contractor will charge you in addition to direct costs that the district will spend on things. Things being things like the furniture that we'll have to put into the commons room, things like some directional signage that is not part of the general contractor's bids. So there's a number of things that add up to about $2 million on that line item. And then $8 million of soft costs, and the soft cost is a combination of architecture, engineering, permitting, our management expenses, and all the things that we need to pay to the city for impact fees. And those are all been, line itemed out in the budgets that we've been carrying. The 4 contractors who bid it in August of 2025 all exceeded that $42 million target. And so those were rejected. And to meet the maximum cost of $55 million, we as a group all decided that we should rebid the project with phasing options. And then we could select from the phasing options which option fell within that $55 million project budget. So we established those 3 phases, which you see on the screen. It was 45 units in phase 1, and then an additional 17 units in phase 2, which would mean not building 2 of the townhouse buildings, and then building all of the units, which would be the 70 units. So those are the 3 sort of places that we thought we needed to look at in order to be able to meet that $55 million budget. This slide is a little too small, but in summary, this is the bids that we received, and the only combination of bids that ends up below the $55 million target is just building the 45 units, and that came in at a $39 million contract from the general contractor. Roberts Obayashi was the low bidder at 39, and Guzman was, even I can't read it, 41. So that's why we're here today recommending we award to Roberts Obayashi. We took all of those numbers, the 3 phase options, and we put them back into our master spreadsheet to look at what the bottom line would be, because again, it's not just the contractor's costs, but it's all the other things that we've mentioned in addition to a contingency. And when we put back all 70 units into our master spreadsheet, the total project cost came out to be a little over $70 million, which obviously exceeds our $55 million target. When we dropped down to the next phase, which was that 62 units, we ended up with a project cost of $64 million. And that obviously exceeded the 55 as well. So we went to the next level and we put in the $39 million. And at the $39 million construction cost level, with all the other hard and soft costs and contingencies, the total project budget comes out to be $51,410,000, which is below the threshold of the $55 million that you've approved. So we're here to recommend that you move forward with the bid for phase 1 for 45 units in the 3 amenity buildings, rehabilitation of the sports field at the $51 million level. And I talked fast. I apologize.
I just have a question. I noticed that the 2-bedroom townhomes in the green, there's not a bathroom on the lower level. Am I seeing that right? And is that allowed? Is it not required to have a bathroom on the lower level?
It's not required.
Oh,
no.
okay, interesting.
Having recently been drawing plans for the teacher housing project in Calistoga and having to try to fit the powder room on the ground floor, it take up a lot of space in a very small footprint, and it's very hard to fit it in the sort of, we're always working really hard to make the square footage as small as possible and as tight as possible. So it's really difficult to fit a second bathroom in unless you do it in the I think it was the corner units, which are a little larger.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions?
So does that mean that there's no handicap accessible apartments?
No, there are.
Okay.
I could go back to the slides. There's I'm trying to remember by count, but in every type, of course, with apartment buildings on the ground floor, and they're called more mobility accessible. The laws in California with housing don't require you to build outright ADA fully accessible units from the get-go, but a mobility accessible, which is, let's say it's about 70% of the way there. And it also builds in the ability to then do some small renovations to make them completely ADA accessible. So yes, there's a number of units in all the buildings have some accessible units.
Can I just apologize? I'm having low blood sugar.
No, please.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to award the general contractor contract for workforce housing project to James E. Roberts Obayashi Corporation?
I motion to award the contract.
And do I have a second?
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, great. Thank you. We're very excited about this. Okay. Well, moving on.
Could we take a quick break?
Sure. We will take a 5-minute break. We'll be back at 8:15. gonna order in the court. Bye-bye. Okay, we're gonna
Everybody's like out.
move on with our meeting. So we have Dr. Carla Chavez Torres with the school accountability report cards.
Good evening, Board President Bracchini, members of the Board of Trustees, Interim Superintendent Dr. Bowman, and members of the public. Tonight, I'm presenting for your approval the 2025 School Accountability Report Cards, commonly referred to as SARCs. As a state mandated document, the SARC is a vital tool for public transparency. It is specifically designed to provide our community with comprehensive look at our school sites, including general school information, principals' messages, student achievement data, parental involvement, and the professional development our staff undergoes. Beyond meeting state requirements, these reports serve as a front door for our district. They are frequently used by incoming parents and local realtors to showcase the high quality of our school sites and the specific types of services we fund to support our students' success. To ensure the highest level of data integrity, the district utilizes document tracking services, or DTS. This is a specialized cloud-based platform designed to streamline the SARC process. Site principals work through the platform to create their unique profiles. It is recommended that the board approve the school accountability report cards for the Pacifica School District, specifically for Cabrillo School, Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School, Pacifica Independent Home Study, Ocean Shore School, Ortega School, Sunset Ridge School, and Balamar School. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions?
I was reading all of the things that, it's good or satisfactory. Are we going to be able to fix some of those things that are in the reports? Is that going to be some guideline for us?
Some of the things in the report will directly align to our LCAP. And we're in a situation where we're ending one LCAP and then next year building another. And so we'll be able to add that any concerns, issues, enhancements through that new LCAP process. In addition to just the work that Carla does every day in educational support services and the other cabinets. But we're going through each one and coming up with a plan on the next level of improvement. Great question. Thank you.
We are currently fixing a few things at Sunset Ridge Ocean Shore because we had a Williams audit at the beginning of the school year. So we are actively attending to all of those. You're welcome.
All right, and any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the school accountability report cards for the Pacifica School District?
Motion.
And do I have a second?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is Rachel Romo with the approval of the updated child nutrition manager position description.
Yes, so we attached the new job description. It includes different wellness coordinator tasks. So updating like the local school wellness policies for all of our school sites, as well as sharing any wellness opportunities that are available to employees. So we are hoping that these changes, we're excited for these changes, and the person that's currently in this position is also excited for these changes for the updated job description. So it's recommended that you approve this new title, Wellness and Child Nutrition Coordinator.
All right, any questions? All right, do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And the next one is an updated classified management salary schedule.
Yes, so with the updated job duties and the wellness duties for this position, the classified management salary scale has also been updated to reflect these duties. So it's recommended that you approve this as well.
Are there any questions? All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
A second?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, and Stacy, the LMEC roof replacement.
Good evening. Board of Trustees, President and Superintendent Bowman. So we have for your approval the project that includes replacing the existing roof at LMEC, also known as Lindemar Education Center. It is recommended that the board authorize staff to enter into contract with the lowest responsible bidder for the Lindemar Education Center re-roofing project, which is Stronger Building Services, for the amount of $1,420,500. If the contract is not entered into Stronger Building Services due to an exhibition of irresponsibility, non-responsiveness, or failure to provide required contract documents, staff is authorized to proceed with the next lowest bidder, which is I&A Contractor Inc., which is very hard to say, for the amount of $1,496,000, and that is out of Measure O bond.
I do have a question
Mhm.
about, because I feel like we spent a lot of money to get it patched and did some repairs since I've been on the board, which isn't that long, many years.
Mhm.
So I was just curious, do we have an active leak? Is there, what's the way we
So-
deciding to do this now?
So roofs do have to be replaced every 30 years, and this roof was last replaced in 1994. So it's time. So there's only so much that patching can do, and so it's time for it to be like completely replaced because the warranty's out, and so we have to.
But is it is it?
The roof's actively leaking. We've gotten multiple requests from the school, including the PE teachers, that is coming directly into gym.
But that's IBL. This is LMEC.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Well,
That's
we're gonna ask for another roofer.
Okay.
Apologies.
We're not yet at the next agenda item.
Forget everything I said.
But yeah, we do get complaints from the tenants at LMEC consistently. And so it's taking a lot of manpower and a lot of mini contracts to go out and replace, to repair. And so at this point, it's
time to do it.
It's time.
What's happening at LMEC?
So we have a long-term renter in the C wing. Sorry, I had to orient myself. We have a long-term renter in the C wing that gives us money. And then we have a B wing piecemealed and a couple smaller renters that give us funds as well. And so we're also going to be marketing out that we will be actively renting. So anybody who's on the internet watching this, we will actively be seeking renters for the A wing as well, because it's completely clean and ready to go.
And I would assume any linking could cause mold, so it would cause other damage besides the roof if it was continuing to leak.
Yeah, and so because it is still a facility under our care, we can, when they come and do audits and walks and anything they want to do, the county can still fine us for that.
How long is the warranty with this
It'd be a
contractor?
so new roofs generally are like a 30-year warranty.
Even near the ocean?
And then, sorry, you said this was going to be paid for with Measure O funds. Is this are we coming to an end on that master plan? Are there other things on that plan?
You'll get a bond report, that will be next month.
Okay,
You'll
great.
see all the funding.
I'll take it.
Okay. Are there any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to approve? The authorization, excuse me, do I have a motion to authorize staff to enter into a contract with Stronger Building Services for Lindemar Educational Center re-roofing project? Or with A&I contractor INC if necessary. Okay, so that's one motion, and then second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, Board of Trustees, Superintendent recap and future agenda items. Anybody, anything?
Just thank you to everybody out there who was working on workforce housing for the last 10 years. I did hear San Francisco say the other day that it took them 20, so we're not the slowest.
I would just like to thank the students who came, Sunset Ridge, and the parents and the teachers. Also the unions that came too. And thanking the PTOs because they're doing a lot for the kids out there. I also just wanted to piggyback on the Measure O funds because with the workforce housing that's coming up, I'm wondering if we're going to have any monies left over from the 70 million. And so I was wondering if we could have a projection of that for the next meeting as well.
Okay, anybody else? All right, with that, or go ahead.
Just quickly, we do have some tentative future agenda items. We'll be hearing an update regarding the Bond Oversight Committee and also the Personal Tax Committee. We will also be updating our comprehensive safety plans, the deadline and ed coach change. So that will be coming around soon. And then we also have a special education update and a climate update coming along.
Okay, and with that, we'll adjourn at 8:27.